Max Lubricants.
Welcome to our final broadcast of this year's Paris to Dakar rally. Over 10,000 Ks from Paris all the way down to the city of Dakar in the country of Senegal. It started 3 weeks ago in the freezing cold surrounding country of France, and we've ended up in the heat of Dakar. A race run not without controversy. In fact, it's the most controversial race in the 23-year history of the Paris to Dakar in both the motorcycle division and in the car division. Today's stage will be run around Le Lac Rose, which means the Pink Lake. 25 Ks through the sand dunes, a carnival atmosphere as all the spectators from Dakar have gathered here to take in the sights and sounds of the Paris to Dakar rally. Stay with us for today's highlights of the 25K stage through the sand dunes.
The final day of the Dakar started the night before with a 1-hour penalty being handed to Jean-Louis Schlesser and Jose Maria Servia. However, at the end of the 23rd total Paris-Dakar rally, it was Germany's Jutta Kleinschmidt who was victorious. Whilst in the motorcycles, Fabrizio Mioni, the emotions just got the better of him. So let's just go back to yesterday and what happened on the penultimate stage. The two Schlesser buggies, Servia and Schlesser, clocked in earlier than their allotted time. Schlesser was penalised by 1 minute and Servia was penalised by 3 minutes. However, they started first and second on the stage. Therefore, number 224, the silver Mitsubishi of Hiroshi Mashioka, had to start third on the road, 6 minutes behind. Now, even though the two buggies were given time penalties of 1 and 3 minutes respectively, there was a jury meeting last night and it was the following. Considering they arrived early at the start and that it was a deliberate act and intentional to get an advantage, it is unsporting behaviour. It is very embarrassing for the image of the Dakar and rally race, and under Article 100.4 of the FIA regulations, we have given a penalty of 1 hour for Schlesser and Servia.
Une pénalité horaire d'1 heure à chacun de ces deux équipages.
À droite, pardon, c'est le cabinet médical.
Schlesser and Servia had to go and see the headmaster.
Il faut modifier.
Bremner here, team boss for Mitsubishi, saying, I think we need more defined regulations, because I'm sure that Jean-Louis read them and he saw some advantages over others. But I think the regulations are not so clear, and he interpreted them his own way.
Il est très intelligent et il ne fait pas des bêtises comme ça le jour avant l'arrivée. Donc apparemment, c'est pas si simple que cela à interpréter.
Today's final stage, stage 20 of the 23rd Dakar, a small loop with a short road section of 35 kilometres to Lac Rose, where there was a 25-kilometre stage, and then the 35 clicks back to base. Well, the motorbikes started first, and even though they were on the seaside, there was no time to make a sandcastle. Everybody's spirits had been lifted once they had arrived in Dakar the previous day, but for some the nerves were just a little too much. John Deacon had a black eye after hitting a bird on yesterday's stage, whilst elsewhere there was a bit of tomfoolery. A group photo for all of the school leavers. But then finally, Hubert Auriol, a winner in the motorcycle and in the car sections on the Dakar, gave the flair, and it was a free-for-all to the finish. A blast down the beach was initially led by Cyril Desprez, with Giovanni Sala up front, and likewise America's Jimmy Lewis on his BMW going for a stage win and cutting corners all he could. Lewis was really hammering it out ahead of Sala and Deacon. Kari Tiernan was reveling in the fact that he had won 3 stages already on the Dakar. Could he win a 4th? It was certainly not for the lack of trying. Lewis was caught by Tiernan. Tiernan buoyed by the fact that his friend and fellow countryman Mackinnon was doing well elsewhere. Alfie Cox was doing well as well, eventually finished 8th on the stage. On board with Mioni though, he says, I go slowly, but it seems difficult. Mioni, of course, remembering the fact that 2 years ago, the engine broke at this very point. He says that the last few kilometers are very, very long. I must concentrate, but likewise I must go slowly. An accident can happen so quickly. Josef Masacek was the leading quad home, and likewise Bernardo Villa was the leading production bike home. He had more than 1 horsepower. Other people had a bad day at the office, but they were soon back on their feet. But by the time they got to the finish, it was Giovanni Sala who actually was equal first on the stage with Kari Tiernan. Not a good day for Jimmy Lewis. Can you believe it? He fell in the last 100 meters of a 10,000 kilometer event. And here is Mioni winning the 2001 Dakar.
Le premier au classement général, Fabrizio Mioni sur une KTM. Forza Italia!
Forza Italia indeed. Mioni on the podium with all of the KTM crew. It was a KTM 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. The leading BMW home was John Deacon, and the leading amateur and the winner of the Yakko Club, Johnny Campbell. Fernando Villa also up there for winning the production class. But it was Mioni's day, Mioni's rally. Sala level pegging with Kari Tiernan. Abidjou for France in 3rd, John Deacon and Mioni. Overall though, Mioni's advantage was eventually 25 minutes over Spaniard Jordi Arcaron's, Dugavado, Esteve Puyol and Cox. Mioni here saying, a very, very special day for me. I just don't realize everything at the moment, but all of the sacrifices during all of these years are now being paid back to me. When all these sacrifices come together, it's a great joy, and today I just can't believe that I've won. We have to wait a little time for that. I'm just going to have to wait. Jordi Arcaron, second position for the Spaniard, saying, it's difficult to explain my state of mind. I worked hard for KTM in the past, and this year I give them my victory. It's a sacrifice because I thought it was possible for me to win. But it's a great happiness to see KTM with 5 riders in the first 5 places in this event.
Un segundo puesto para mí también es una victoria y soy un hombre feliz.
Fernando Villa, the winner of the marathon production class, saying the Dakar is over, but it was a very good one. There were 2 parts, a good one and a not so good one. I succeeded to be in the top 10, but this was very difficult with my bike, which is good, reliable, but also very old. I'm very satisfied of this result with the help of my mechanics and all who helped during the rally. My team was okay, and they were one important key in my success. I thank them to let me win the marathon class. It's my biggest joy in the Dakar to be ahead and to win.
Para conseguir este top 10 e sobretudo para vencer a classe maratona, que é realmente a melhor alegria que eu tive durante todo o Dakar, foi andar à frente da classe e conseguir ganhá-la.
The cars kicked off with Jutta Kleinschmidt kicking around the beach. She didn't get a wink's sleep last night after she had learnt the news that she was now the overall leader of the Dakar, coming to the last 25 kilometers, the blacks down the beach, starting with Kleinschmidt and Sousa. 2 by 2 they went into the arc, they went to the finish of the rally. After the 1-hour penalties that were handed out to the 2 Schlesser buggies late last night, it was therefore Kleinschmidt who was first on the road this afternoon. For Kleinschmidt to get through the stage, all she had to do was drive surely and safely, even though she reached for the skies. Reached for the sky she has done indeed throughout her career, but now she has won the golden jewel of them all. The Paris-Dakar is hers. She was victorious by just 2 minutes and 39 seconds ahead of Hiroshi Matsuoka. Matsuoka in the depths of despair just 24 hours earlier after the wheel went awry. However, a Mitsubishi was victorious, a Mitsubishi was second. Schlesser, though, was fighting all the way to the death. He was quickest on the stage today. He was certainly trying and flying.
Et là, on lance le lac.
Schlesser, like a terrier, did not let go and was eventually victorious on the stage, exactly the same time being logged by his teammate, Jose Maria Serra. Third on the stage was Carlos Sousa in his slightly longer wheelbase Mitsubishi to that of Kleinschmidt. Matsuoka on the stage was 4th, Jutta was 5th. Sousa was 5th overall, Fontenay was 6th overall. Leading Belgian in his VW buggy was Stefan Orard, ahead of fellow countryman Gregoire de Mavius' Nissan. De Mavius therefore in 8th place, ahead of Thierry de la Verne in the sister Nissan. The Frenchman running into problems yesterday, but finishing today. For Kleinschmidt, she is the first woman to win the Dakar and the first German. Matsuoka vows to come back next year, whilst the Schlesser buggies were 3rd and 4th. Stefan Pederhansel was victorious in the T1 marathon class, but only slightly modified machines.
C'est les dernières petites dunes.
Stefan on board saying these are the last dunes and the last kilometres, they are always the most difficult. We try not to make mistakes, just as he says that. He nearly does. Co-driver saying, please don't put the car on the roof today. No. He says we're with Thierry Magnaldi and Hotelier. On the walk, He's nice. We had a race with no punctures. We never got stuck in the sand, and that's why we have won this category.
On s'est jamais enlisé et c'est ce qui a fait, qui a payé énormément et ce qui fait qu'aujourd'hui nous sommes en tête de cette catégorie.
Here we are, the finish line. The Dakar is over. Thanks to everybody. We did a good job, and I hope to do it with you another time. For Peter Hansel, it is his 7th win after winning on the bikes before 6 times. Some did find time to get stuck in the sand. It's never over until you see the checkered flag. Dead level in the cars as well as the bikes. Schlesser and Servia winning today ahead of Sousa, Masuoka, and the overall winner, Jutta Kleinschmidt. Kleinschmidt, a time of nearly 71 hours to go from Paris all the way to Dakar, but only 2 minutes and 39 seconds ahead of Masuoka, Schlesser, Servia and Sousa. Kleinschmidt saying, sure, I'm happy to be here today. It's a great moment for me. It's been a dream for me to win the Dakar, and today, now I can be happy.
Good moment.
You were a good driver. You was the best.
Thank you. Yesterday is a bad day. Today is new. Last day. So we try 3 minutes different Utah, so a little bit of push, but nearly same time. So we are happy second arrive because we are 100% best in rally, during rally. So I will try next year win.
Mais il y a un appel, c'est tout.
Schlesser saying there is an appeal about Article 19 which says that we didn't start yesterday, but here we are. We didn't refuse to start. The officials have to take their responsibilities. I've made an appeal, that's all. Stefan Peter Hansel saying, this has been a good Dakar. Last year we had an easy one with no chances to really make time. But this year it was perfectly split. We had Morocco with hard technical stages, and then we went to Mauritania with navigation and dunes. Stages with camel grass and stones. It was a Dakar growing with difficulties. Very nice views, and in the end we finished in Black Africa on technical dusty stages. Thank you very much to TSO, as this year it was a Dakar that we like. It has been well organised and a brilliant route. So Germany's Jutta Kleinschmidt is victorious on the Dakar, the first German to win and the first lady. However, her first Dakar didn't start well in Paris in 1994. She started on the ground, but she finished 22nd in 95. It was her first year with Mitsubishi. She finished 12th. In 1996, it was a non-finish when she changed from Mitsubishi over to the Schlesser buggy. She won stages in 97 and finished 5th that year, but then the next year she was 24th. A return to Mitsubishi in 99, and she wins a stage to lead overall, being co-driven by Sweden's Tina Turner. In 2000, she was 5th overall after once more winning stages, but this year it's been absolutely plain sailing to the finish. trucks did their final 25 kilometres down the beach towards Lac Rose. The Pink Lake was seen first by Carol Loprace, Kalina and Hamiera in their Tatra. They were victorious on the stage and victorious overall ahead of Sugawara Suzuki and the other Sugawara in their Japanese Hino. Johan Peter Wright was third overall in his KTM Service MAN. Some 93 hours was taken by the winning truck, comparing with 71 hours for the winning car. So for Loprace, it was champagne time on the podium. The Dakar has been filled full of emotion from New Year's Day, 3 weeks later, all the way to the finish. The BMWs were looking for a hat-trick, but in the end it was the KTM. Spain's Nani Roma was riding on the limit, but eventually he rode beyond it. And he fell just before the halfway point. He was out. Likewise, on the very same day, France's Richard Sankt, he didn't fall, but he had a mechanical problem and he was also taking an early plane home. It was not to be a hat-trick for Sankt.
Me duele más la moral que la pierna, ¿sabes?
It's not a question of how injured I am, it's a question of how injured my morale is. For Sankt, it was a long wait. It's going to be 12 months.
C'est vraiment dommage parce qu'on arrivait à la journée de repos. C'était la journée où on devait changer le moteur. Le moteur avait fait la moitié du rallye.
We were going to change the motor tomorrow, and ironically, out of a big team, it is only my engine that has failed. So after the rest day, the battle was then on between Italy's Fabrizio Mioni and Spain's Jordi Arcarons. For America's Johnny Campbell, he was wheeling away, whilst KTM team boss Heinz Kinnegartner just oversaw his crew. Mioni could see nobody behind him as they all struggled to keep up, and in the end, he was victorious. It was a KTM 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Austrian technology was dominant on two wheels. In Morocco, the Schlesser buggy of Jean-Louis Schlesser was going like a train, but he suffered a 1-hour penalty after being illegally pushed inside a control zone. Then Hiroshi Matsuoka, the Japanese star in the Mitsubishi, just chipped away at Schlesser's lead and began to creep in. It was ding-dong between the pair of them. Schlesser looking for a hat-trick, Matsuoka looking to win the Dakar for his first time. They were fighting on the stages, they were fighting on the timesheets. Matsuoka was driving brilliantly without making any mistakes, whilst Jean-Louis Schlesser was more mercurial. Sousa and Kleinschmidt with Fontenay at times were getting stuck. Masuoka had his own problems with a broken rear left ball joint, but Jean-Pierre Fontenay was soon on the scene and the teammates were helping each other out. Masuoka's lead almost dissipated from 40 minutes to nothing. However, the very next day he shot through the stage. Whilst problems were caused for Schlesser behind Kleinschmidt. It was a matter of minutes between them coming into the penultimate stage, but Masuoka was pedal to the metal. He hit a tree stump and the rear left wheel was awry. He could see his Dakar disappearing into the bushes and into the dust. His co-driver was apoplectic in rage and tried to take it out on Serbia. The win had gone, but not second place. At the time, Schlesser was leading overall, but then after the jury's decision penalising the two Schlesser buggies by 1 hour, Kleinschmidt was then leading. And she won her first Dakar. Three weeks of the Dakar, we have been bringing you the television coverage from inside the Hercules aeroplane. From all of the crew on the Dakar, from day 1 to day 21. It's been a pleasure to be with you, and we look forward to bringing you the Dakar 2002 next year.